I'm from here.
Today, we share a story about a trail network 6 times longer than the Appalachian Trail, crisscrossing the backcountry of Norway, called the DNT.
If you've never heard of the DNT, you're not alone. We also did not know it existed before we visited my lifelong friend Sandy and her family.
This is the story of a 3-day, 48-kilometer adventure through Norway, where there's no need for a car, breaking the bank, or getting lost in a major city.
It all starts at the Bergen train station.
Mellom vogn 7 og 5. Og har du spørsmål eller trenger hjelp?
Passing Voss right now, which is where all the fancy water bottles come from. And last time I was here, I went to the gas station and I got locked in the bathroom for half an hour, and it was really scary. So no bathroom breaks here, just good water. Mission left Bergen,
Hi.
and we're on our way to
Finse?
Finse, which I've actually been to before with Sandy when I did like a bike ride through Norway.
It's Norway's Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah, which is crazy because this is actually the third Grand Canyon we've done in the last year.
The actual Grand Canyon.
Waimea Canyon, which is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific.
And the Norway Grand Canyon.
Whose name we'll get right once we meet other people who learn how to pronounce it.
Alright. So we are here.
Okay.
We start
So we're a minute 15. We've already delayered twice. A lot of wool in these places.
They don't tell you Norway is warm.
Yeah, everyone prepared us for how cold it was gonna be. I am burning up. But the views have been spectacular so far. We haven't made it very far, but that's okay. It's part of the journey. So check out this glaciers.
The Norwegian Trekking Association, also known as the DNT, is a network of trails and cabins, both public and privately owned, that links the entire length of the country. The trail network has been around for 150 years to promote trekking and to improve conditions for everyone to be able to enjoy the country's broad range of outdoor activities.
When we arrived in Norway to visit Sandy and Torstein, we didn't even know this trail network existed. As we had plenty of time visiting, they insisted on us doing a backpacking trip via the DNT. They helped us supply all of the wool, the backpacks, the itinerary, and our first but not last adventure along the DNT.
One thing that differentiates the DNT from other trekking circuits is the opportunity to stay at cabins for an affordable price, so that you don't need to pack or travel with sleeping bags, a tent, or all of your food. This makes the experience not only more accessible for Norwegian hikers, but also for anyone flying in, like us.
We've been meeting a lot of local Norwegians on the hike.
Hi.
And everybody keeps talking to us in Norwegian, and I don't know why, but it's so flattering that they think we're Norwegian. But we have to keep supporting them and saying, we're still learning Norwegian and we speak English. We only know one phrase, really, which is tusen takk.
And Von.
And postkassa,
And
which is
Musa.
mailbox, that's moss. So we're not getting very far with
Von Malone.
Yeah, it's not getting us too far. However, everybody speaks English here, which is nice. And they're like so happy to switch languages for us.
Yeah. And extra helpful too.
Yeah. So we've still got a ways to go. I don't know. Maybe we're about halfway, I'm hoping. Yeah. All right, we just climbed down that. There's no way we could have done that. Instead, I came down this thing, which hurt. I don't know how Colin's still doing it. It was choose your own adventure out there. So another interesting thing that we learned is that if you buy land, even though it's private and it's your land, anybody can come on it at any point. And they can camp. So our hosts own like about 100 acres, and at any point people can just like pull their boat up, camp for the night, hang out on their land. They just can't go within a certain number of meters of the house. But other than that, like the public can use it, which we both, I think is pretty cool, because there's a lot of places in the United States that I would love to go hiking and check out, but it's on private land. And we always have conversations that like some of the best places in the United States are probably on private land that we don't know about. So I think it's really cool that Norway does that.
The first day of hiking was the easiest, but that might have just been because we were fresh. The terrain was mostly rocky, reminding us that we were in fact in the Alpine.
Say hello to our home for the night. It looks like we can maybe go canoeing too. Or that green boat, that
Paddle
boat, rowboat, oh boy. And maybe a fireplace down there? So if you're ever getting ready to pack to go camping and you're wondering what kinds of things you should pack to eat, because I always panic when I'm in the grocery store right before we leave for a trip and I'm like, what do we eat? What food do we have camping? Let me show you what we had tonight. We've got eggs with mushrooms and pepper, and then we've got crackers with avocado and avocado on top. And then we're boiling some potatoes. And I feel like it's a pretty decent meal.
That's a pretty decent meal.
So come on in. This is the first room that you walk into, and this is where you take off your shoes, but it's also where they keep all the firewood. And then you come into the second one, and this is where you can hang up any of your clothes, and then you can actually put your shoes here. You'll notice we're the only ones with the bedbugs. Please sponsor us, we've been trying for months. And then you have hiking shoes. And then you can rinse off, wash off, and then... So, welcome to our bedroom. As you can see, we have pretty much the place to ourselves. We took the last two beds right next to the window, next to the pretty view. But if you actually come over here, this is where our friend Healy's sleeping from Australia. We've got the safety barrier of one other bed in between us. She's actually awesome. And then there's Colin with the crackers that we promised. One other thing to note about these rooms is you bring your own sleeping bag that you sleep in, and then you go under the blankets here. So they still wash all the bedding all the time, but you like stay in your own sleeping bag. So I feel like it's a little bit cleaner. Also, these places feel incredibly clean, which is great. So now we'll start the tour from leaving our bedroom.
The cabin exceeded our expectations. It was clean, had hot showers, and if you wanted to buy it, you could buy hot meals, beer, and wine. August is the start of the off-season for the DNT, so the cabin felt extra cozy with only a few other occupants.
So this is the drying room where you hang up all of your wet clothes after your day of hiking. But it's also like a sauna, and so I've just been coming in here and relaxing all day because I've been freezing.
And all these more experienced older hikers,
Yeah, classic
particularly
Norwegians.
women,
Mm-hmm.
keep coming in here and staring at particularly Meredith for being in all of her gear with her big old bags just laying on the couch.
Like, why are you sitting in a smelly room? And I'm like, it's warm. Good morning.
Good morning from Garisheda.
We survived our first night in the cabin. It was amazing. And Haley and I were talking last night when I was getting ready for bed, and it turns out she really wants to go to northern Norway and go swimming with the orca whales, which is like
top of my bucket list. And then I came down to get Colin because Colin has a
Deathly fear of orcas. These are the scariest, most magnificent, horrifying, deadly animals on the planet. There's no known deaths from orcas in the wild, and I think that's because they leave no witnesses. They can take you down, they can take the boats down, people just get lost at sea. Haley, from Melbourne in Australia, has the same fear.
But
We even have the same recurring nightmares
oh yeah, that was crazy.
of orcas getting us, which is wild. Who else has a orca nightmare out there? Please let us know what yours looks like if it's not too traumatizing.
And I was gonna say, I've been telling Colin for years that we need to go swimming with orcas because he needs to get over his fear. Not that it's really impeding on our day-to-day life that often, but I think it would be really fun. So anyways, we had a dorm room with Haley, which was great.
Yeah.
And then we woke up this morning, went outside and made some oatmeal, kind of watched the sunrise. We're sipping our last cup of coffee.
Yep.
And then today we're doing about 22 kilometers to the next cabin that is called
Arashlan.
Ashwan. And
Maybe.
so it's like 9 in the morning right now. We're supposed to get there around 5 o'clock. And then we'll check in there. Okay, so we made friends on the trail, which is very exciting. They're 5 women,
All retired?
all retired. They live in the middle part of Norway. And they took a train, or I guess they took a flight to where we started, and then a train here. But they're like a group of 5 women, and they hike every Tuesday and Thursday together, and they're doing this trip, and it's so fun. And we're gonna,
So happy.
they're so happy, and we're gonna get wine with them tonight when we get to the cabin. They're going to the same place as us, and they really liked Colin's bedrocks.
They did. I had to make sure I had extra shoes in the bag. I don't. But I told them I did so they wouldn't worry.
Yeah, Norwegians get really nervous about hiking in sandals, which, you know what, to be fair, most people we see on the trail get nervous about it, but they always work out fine. Oh my gosh, and look, some sheep. Day 2's trail consisted of more stream crossings, more waterfalls, and more musa than the day before. Today's length is divided into 2 sections, broken up by a cabin in the middle, which is a perfect spot for lunch, coffee, and a good place to spend the night if you're a little too tired. We got to this halfway cabin right before a rainstorm hit. It was the only rain that we encountered for the entire 3-day hike, which is pretty unusual for the area. The cabin was built in the 1890s and was designed to attract German hikers to Norway.
So hiking from one cabin to the next.
We met the owner and she gave us a detailed history of the
We're
place.
loving it so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, like so that's the only thing you're doing that day, and you arrive in a new place and you meet people you never met before.
While we were waiting for the storm to pass, we enjoyed some incredible waffles and the best soup of our lives. Behind the scenes footage. Me dying.
The death of the trek.
The hard part.
Beauty is pain.
Yeah.
Beauty is Meredith.
Oh, I love you, sweetheart. Oh, while we're standing here catching our breath, let me tell you about this DNT Trail that they have in Norway. It's like a whole system of hikes and cabins that you can stay at or have lunch at. All throughout the country, there's like 500 of them. But what's really cool is each cabin's completely different. Some of them, like the one we just stayed at, is from the 1890s. And other ones are brand new. So it's been really cool checking these out. And then we also learned that Norwegians, their companies, provide them with cabins that they can go and rent all over their country too. So you pretty much have endless opportunities of places to stay and be out in nature. It's amazing. Oh, and they hike with chocolate. And the mountains. Woo. Mud City. Okay, so on the DNT, the way that you know you're on the actual trail is the T's are all the way throughout on all the rocks everywhere you go. So you just look for the red T. It's so cute. How good it is.
It's so good. Quit your jobs, travel the world.
Do it. It was a lot harder than yesterday's because it's so muddy, and despite like the elevation change probably being the same, you have to think so much before literally every step.
It's the rockiness, the steepness. Hey look, there's a T. That stands for treacherous hike.
You ain't wrong. But probably an hour to go. We're seeing some signs of human life. So we'll see how we can do.
The second part of today's hike was much more challenging than the first. The rain had made the steep dirt trail turn into a muddy trail involving some pretty complicated footwork.
Mushroom friends. What is this guy? Super cool. I feel like it's like the quintessential mushroom you're like taught as a child.
The toadstool.
Yeah, like a toadstool. What is it? Did you picture these things in Norway? I had no idea they had these ferns there. Huh. I think we're really close now, which is great. Because I am done hiking for the day, let me tell ya.
Getting tired, she's getting cranky. I hope we're there very soon, for both of our sakes, but mostly mine.
I think we're coming up
Almost.
on the end of day 2.
Big day.
Big day. This was by far the hardest day of the trek.
Out of 2.
Out of the 2. But the most beautiful we've done so far. The best stops, the best like views, and just honestly overall very enjoyable. But we're ready to be done. And it turns out we're not here, so I guess we'll see you again soon.
Day 2's trail ends in a beautiful valley for the final 2 kilometers. When mixed with the sunset, which is when we arrived, it created a magical moment. Day 2 is the longest day of our trek, so we're pretty beat up by the end of it. But knowing that a cabin, red wine, and a hot shower were waiting for us at the end, it got us through our mini route march. That's the beauty of the DNT.
Our home from night 2 was almost identical to the first night on the trail. And although there were more people, most of them were ones we'd already seen on the trail that day or met the night before, including the lovely hiking ladies who invited us to join them for a glass of wine.
I'm from here.
Good morning. Hello. It is day 3 of hiking.
Day 3 of our trek, crisp, cold morning. And you may be wondering why we're sitting outside with this beautiful background.
And not hiking.
Well, tell them, Meredith.
We're locked out.
So essentially this place that we're staying, which is amazing, it's got like a living room and a dining room and a kitchen and like our little reception area, and then on the back side is all the dormitories where we slept last night. And when you walk into anywhere, you have to take off your shoes. We woke up this morning really early, bright and early, ready to go.
Extra early to make sure we did not miss our bus. Stay tuned if we make it.
Yeah. And well, it turns out they locked the reception area. So now we're sitting outside until 8 a.m. when they open it, but we were supposed to start hiking at 7.
Update. Meredith went around the building, found the nice lady who was cooking breakfast for everybody, and we got the shoes.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Bed rockin'.
Alrighty, the hike has started. It's a beautiful day. We're ready to go. The nice chef lady let us in the building. Everything is good again. And we got extra coffee this morning. So, spirits are high. I'm very excited for these 18 kilometers. 19 kilometers. I was only mentally prepared for 18. Day 3 was probably the most visually captivating of the 3 days of our hike. The trail mostly consisted of hiking downhill into the valley. It started to feel more like a humid jungle than trekking through Norway. We enjoyed exploring how diverse the 3-day trail could really be. Wow.
The best snack ever.
We're about 5 miles in, doing good. Colin's reading every sign that we pass. This place was most likely a farm, although they're not sure. I like that.
Nobody knows who lives here, or for how long, or when.
Oh, there you go. Fresh information.
The 3rd day is also when you pass the most old cottages. They were mostly used by shepherds a long time ago, but today they can be used in case of an emergency or in case you want a photo shoot.
You can just barely see it. I don't know if this camera even knows how to capture it, but there is a rainbow in that waterfall right now, and I've never seen something so magical in my life. Hi, you made really good socks for me on this hike. It's made it to the 3 kilometers to go spot, and so it's time for a cookie!
Cookie, cookie, cookie! With 3 kilometers to go, we started passing a ton of day hikers who were going the opposite way. This was the only time that the trail felt even mildly busy. It was also at this time that we relaxed about missing our bus, as we had made up enough time going downhill that we were going to catch it.
Final 1.5 kilometers till we're done. And we both just got really sad because this has been such a good experience. And I think every time we come back to Norway, I want to redo this route, even though like there are tons of other routes that we can be doing. This one felt really special.
This one was really great.
Yeah. We did it!
We are done with our 3-day trek through Norway.
Yay! That was awesome! But I'm ready for bread.
And coffee?
Yeah, let's go get some of that. Woohoo!
Hi, we're back. far too exhausted at the end of that hike to explain just how easy it is to wrap everything up at the end. You finish your third day of hiking and you get to the bus stop, the one bus stop, the only bus stop, you can't miss it, and you pre-book that bus with the link in the description, and from there that will take you to Flume.
Once you arrive in Flume, you can pretty much get a bus to anywhere in the country that you need to go. So we just jumped on one and went right back to Bergen. But it's a very easy process. And I think the beauty of it is that you get to go to Norway and be out in the countryside without even needing to rent a car. And you don't need to really pre-book all of the hotels. You even don't have to really pack that much besides snacks because you can just eat all of your meals at the cabins. So overall, that was an amazing experience. I cannot believe we had no idea that existed.
I can't believe it. Thank you so much, Sandy and Torstein, for not only loaning us the wool and the backpacks and planning this trip for us, but letting us know this exists. Our eyes have been opened now to the possibilities of trekking throughout Norway via the DNT.
Yeah.
An amazing association and some amazing trails out there.
Yeah, super grateful for you guys. And thanks so much for watching our first ever vlog. We will see you next week in Switzerland when we attempt to run a marathon up a mountain to the tallest mountain in Europe.
How did we do that?
I have no idea. That was a really crazy idea.
In the free world.
This is love at its finest hour.